Hey guys, hello. I'm super excited to speak to you today. Yet again on dreams, uh, more so on nightmares. Why do we have dreams? Why do we have nightmares? Why are they so real? Why do they grip us so much? Why do we have troubled thoughts in the deep recesses of the night? Is it something we should pay attention to? Is it just our worries and fears? Or is there a message, something cautioning us on our path in life? All these questions. Today I want to look at the book of Job and draw some wisdom from there. There are a lot of things mentioned and spoken of dreams, and I hope it can help answer some of these questions. I'll be reading from Job chapter 4. It says, "Now a word was secretly brought to me, and my ear caught a whisper of it, in the troubling thoughts of the dreams in the night, when a deep sleep falls on man. A trembling gripped me and a terror. It made all my bones shake. Then a breath of air passes by my face, and it makes the hair of my flesh stand up. It stands still, but I cannot recognize its appearance. An image is before my eyes, and I hear a murmuring voice. Is a mortal man righteous before God, or a man pure before his Creator? If God puts no trust in his servants and attributes folly to his angels, how much more to those who live in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth. They destroy between morning and evening. They perish forever, without anyone regarding it. Is not their excess wealth taken away from them? They die, yet without attaining wisdom." Oh, this is deep. I wanted to look at some of the things in this passage. It says we live in houses of clay. That means that our bodies, these bodies, are houses of clay. So the real person lives inside you, and you're not this body, but you're the spirit that's breathed from God. That's the real identity. We just live in these houses of clay, and that's important because when we sleep, our bodies sleep, you see, but we are made alive in our spirit, right? That's why our minds don't stop. Our soul is still receiving, but this time from the spirit, and we're aware of things that our body is not aware of. You can be fine all day, and then at night you can't sleep. That means there's some information you're receiving that is beyond the natural. So there are two ways to look at the world from a natural point of view. But the spirit is, which is in us, our real self, our true, is affected by the things we do during the day. And it makes us aware of our true condition for God, because our spirit is that part of us from God, and it receives information from God. Just as in the natural bodies we have physical senses, we also have these spiritual senses. So we can sense, this trouble in our spirit, and it's usually at night, because then we are alone. Then we reflect on ourselves, because sometimes it's easy to be distracted with the many things that's happening in our lives, but we forget our real person. When we're alone, that time, especially when we're about to sleep, it all comes. We're more attentive to our spirit for some reason, and as the body is tiring, and sometimes before your head even reaches the pillow, you're already dreaming. Before you even drift into, you're already dreaming. You're already seeing in the spirit. So you're seeing, but not with these natural eyes. So it says, a word was secretly brought to me, and my ear caught a whisper of it. This is something I also heard, that when you have dreams, it's not actually given to you in picture. It's actually given to you in word. That's very important, because you realize. So God gives you a word, and what your spirit does, your soul rather, what your soul does is interpret it in picture. Okay? This is why sometimes our dreams don't make sense and everything seems jumbled. But I want to say to you this mystery, because just like it says here, it was secretly brought to me, and my ear caught a whisper of it. So what it is sometimes this is a key to understanding a lot of our dreams. It doesn't matter. People say it's a pizza dream, whatever. And let me tell you something. You need to narrate your dream to yourself. You know, try and articulate it in words the way you would. Describe the picture to me. Describe it to somebody. And what it is that light will come on, because some of the thing is when you say it, the meaning is revealed. So the thing we can ignorantly do is to have dreams, and because we don't understand it, we don't think on it, we don't dwell on it. It remains a mystery to us. But there's a parable I love of the sower, and it's a parable of a man who went out throwing out seed everywhere. And in the first place, the seeds fell at the wayside. What happened is the birds came and picked it up. And it describes this ground is like people who hear the word, but they don't understand it. And because they don't understand it, the evil one comes and steals that word from us, and it's gone from us. This is why dreams quickly disappear from us, because we haven't understood the word. But it says we should take care the way we listen and the measure we use to listen. And if we have something, more will be given to us. But if we don't have any, even the little that we have will be taken away from us. That's why it just disappears. But if you take the time to pay attention to that word, the beauty about dreams is that everyone has dreams. Whether you're born again or not, you are still connected to God because His Spirit is in you. And this is also scriptural. You see in the Bible many people who were not believers have dreams. Abimelech had a dream when Abraham came to him, and God cautioned him. Laban, Jacob's father-in-law, had a dream, and God cautioned him as well. And the Pharaoh, during the time of Joseph, had a dream, and it troubled him, and God sent Joseph to interpret his dream. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had a dream that troubled him, and God sent Daniel to interpret his dream. So you see, everyone has dreams. You don't have to be born again for God to communicate to you. So that's the beautiful part. And I want to go on to why we have dreams. Firstly, it says that how terror can grip us. It says makes the hair of our flesh stand up. Do you know when you have goosebumps? And there's this question that's asked him, and it says, is a mortal man righteous before God, or a man pure before his creator? It shows you that dreams are often showing us our hearts, giving us a reflection of our real spiritual state, whether we're right with God, whether we're going off the right path, and why it is important. It goes on to say how, it says our foundation is in the dust, but it's in how we're destroyed between morning and evening. That means during the day, a lot of things happen to us. Many times we're escaping death. Even death, we're escaping death as we walk through life. Anything can happen to us between morning and evening. So sometimes God gives us dreams to warn us, to guide us on the right path. It says they perish forever without anyone regarding it. Imagine, so many times we hear of tragedies that happen to people, but I want to say this because many times it would have been revealed to them in dreams. Many times God would have brought it to their attention in dreams. So it says they're destroyed between morning and evening. They perish forever without anyone regarding it. We're very precious in God's sight, and there is somebody who cares for your soul. God is the lover of our soul, and He always wants to protect us through our lives. So He takes it to regard, even though other people, can not care. One day you just hear the story on the news, and tomorrow life continues. Life continues like as normal. People move on, and 2-3 generations, nobody even remembers, those that have gone ahead. But God regards it. So He speaks to us in dreams. It's not their excess wealth taken away from them. They die, yet without attaining wisdom. So He says the things that we run after in this life, the wealth that we seek, the things that we seek to enrich our lives, the temporary things of this world, they're all taken away from us. At the end of the day, we came in this world with nothing, and we live with nothing. But He says we die without attaining wisdom. Yet wisdom is always crying out to us. And I'll go on to Job chapter 33. It speaks more on dreams. It says, for God speaks the first time in one way, the second time in another, though a person does not perceive it. In a dream, a night vision, when deep sleep falls on people as they sleep in their beds, then He gives them a revelation. He gives revelation to His people and terrifies them with warnings to turn a person from his sin and to cover a person's pride. He spares a person's life from corruption, his very life from crossing over the river, where a person is chastised by pain on his bed and with the continual strife of his bones, so that his life loathes food and his soul rejects appetizing fare. His flesh wastes away from sight, and his bones, which were not seen, are easily visible. He draws near to the place of corruption, and his life to the messengers of death. If there is an angel beside him, one mediator out of 1,000, to tell a person what constitutes his uprightness, and if God is gracious to him and says, spare him from going down to the place of corruption, I have found a ransom for him. Then his flesh is restored like a youth's. He returns to the days of his youthful figure. He entreats God and God delights in him. He sees God's face with rejoicing and God restores him his righteousness. That person sings to others saying, I have sinned and falsified what is right, but I was not punished according to what I deserved. He redeemed my life from going down to that place of corruption, and my life sees the light. Indeed, God does all these things twice, 3 times in his dealings with the person to turn back his life from that place of corruption, that he may be enlightened with the light of life. This is so intriguing to me, because he says he's enlightened with the light of life. So God gives us light in our dreams. He helps us to understand our lives, the path that we're on. He gives a revelation to people and terrifies them with warnings to turn a person from his sin and to cover a person's pride. So God can often give warnings. The king of Babylon had a dream once, and it troubled him. He was warned what would happen to him if he continued in his pride. And Daniel explained to him the dream, but he didn't heed the warning in the dream, and it happened just as Daniel had told him, and the judgment of God is declared in the dream. Sometimes God can direct choices ahead of us. We see this in the New Testament and in Matthew chapter 2, Joseph, the father of Jesus. In that chapter 2, 3, I think up to 6 times you read about people having dreams, and sometimes the dreams of warning. But God warned Joseph to run away from Bethlehem to Egypt because Herod was after his life. And if he didn't heed that warning, Herod would, later sent an army, and they killed all the babies under 3 years old, and it was devastating. But they managed to escape because they heed the warning. And the 3 wise men also had a warning not to go back to Herod. So God can direct us, give us direction in our lives through dreams. There's also something very important in this passage, even though it's written in the Old Testament. It shows more relevance to us today after Christ Jesus has come, when he says, if there is an angel beside him, one mediator out of 1,000, to tell a person what constitutes his righteousness, and if God is gracious to him, he says, spare him from going down to the place of corruption. I have found a ransom for him. This is very intriguing because Jesus is our mediator between us and God the Father. And he's also our ransom. I've had this in dreams where I see one dream I had being in this house that was dark and it was filled with wild animals, and I was terrified being in this house alone. But then there was an angel that stood by my side, and it gave me a lantern, and it says, keep holding up this light. If you keep holding up this light, the light will fill the house and it will drive out all the wild animals, and you feel safe again. And so It is amazing when we invite Jesus into our lives, into our hearts. You know, we become one with Him in our spirit, and He can mediate for us. He can guide us. He is that shepherd of our soul, and He also ransomed us so that we don't go to that place of corruption. You know, He ever lives to intercede on our behalf. It says he entreats God and God delights in him. He sees God's face with rejoicing and God restores him to His righteousness. This is so intriguing to me because you can see God's face, and there's no feeling like that where you are upright before God, where you can stand before God, where God can visit you and speak to you, where God's light can shine on you when you know your life is pleasing to God. And I believe many times it starts in that place of heeding that voice, even in our nightmares, where you take a self-reflection of your life and you say, why am I having the nightmare? Is it something? Is it a spirit I've entertained in my life? Is there a door that I've opened in my life? To me, my nightmares a lot are animals I see. Maybe animals attacking me, and it's so gripping because it's like you're there and you can't wake up until it's over, and it grips me so much. I want to say this because I also lose my way sometimes, and I get stuck in that place. And it's hard to let go. I feel bound. But sometimes, for that dream that shows me the reality, even though it's easy in the natural to justify our ways and feel, and to justify to ourselves that it's okay or to continue that way. But when you have the dream, you understand what is happening to your spirit. Then I realize I'm being afflicted. Sometimes I wake up and I still feel the horror. The visions are still in my sight. Sometimes if it was an animal attacking me, I still feel the scratches on my skin. I can't, it is so real and powerful and gripping. And it makes me shrink in fear. To change my mind of the way I'm going, because I realize I'm actually being afflicted. Sometimes I'll just see, even before I sleep, even before just closing my eyes, as I lay on my bed, I just see a snake, a venomous, poisonous snake. And I just aware what I'm dealing with. But the Bible said, Jesus said, I have given you the authority to tread over serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. And that's important. So when this is happening to me, it's because I've lost my place where I should be walking over these spirits. But now they are afflicting me. Do you know? So it's important for you to always have that place where we're seated with Christ in heavenly places. And it's important if you haven't known or asked Jesus in your life, it is important, because maybe it's that peace that you're longing for. Jesus says, "Come unto me, you who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest." If you're longing for peace, if you feel burdened, I know what it is when you can't sleep at night, and when you're afraid of the night because you don't want to sleep. You feel the terror, you feel, and that is supposed to push us to seek for peace, for that peace. And I want to say that Jesus is the Prince of Peace. When He comes, He speaks peace to every storm in your life, and you can live life confidently when you know He is by your side. You walk in the light. It says, those who walk in the darkness don't know what makes them stumble. And it is true for me that even if I don't pay attention to my dreams, I'll see the physical manifestation in my real life. And that ought to make me pay attention that I'm playing with fire, or I'm walking on the edge and I can fall off. I thank God for the dreams that God has shown me, because every time I have a dream, even a nightmare, it shows me that God still cares about you, and His Spirit is contending. He's contending with you, and He loves you. Think of it this way, that God is speaking with you. If God is still speaking to you, there's still hope. You know why dreams are so powerful? Because that experience is so real. And there's no better teacher than experience. When you experience those dreams that are so real, you know, it strikes right to your soul, where the conflict is in your soul, and it gives you the power to change your heart, to repent. And that is God preserving your life. I hope you're blessed and encouraged, guys. Thank you.